Kei ngā kāhika o te Nehenehenui, tēnā rā koutou katoa. Tēnā rā koutou te whānau. Welcome to another engaging Te Puna Kōrero o te Nehenehenui. And this is, it's been a while actually that I haven't hosted in the hot seat, but I'm back for you tonight. My name is Leon Hemera and happy to be your guys' host and navigator throughout this evening. Well, we've been living in the COVID world for 2 years now, pretty much to the week. Borders have been closed, borders have been open, borders have been moved, and whānau are still living across the sea and wanting to get home to our whānau here back in Aotearoa. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about this evening, reaching out to our whānau that are living tāwāhi all over the world and just checking in and seeing exactly how they are. So with that in mind, let's have a look and see who our panelists are this evening. Tēnā rā koutou, ngā panelists, how are you all?
Good, brother, good. Kia ora to everyone on. Kia ora to you, Leon.
Kia ora.
Kia ora to everyone watching globally.
Kia ora te whānau. Beautiful to have you guys on board. Thank you for taking the time out to jump in this evening. And well, it's actually evening where I am. Who knows what time it is where you guys are in your part of the world. But let's find out. Let's go around the squares right now. And if you guys could introduce yourselves, your name, and maybe which marae you affiliate to and whereabouts in the world you are right now. And we'll start at the top corner. I've got Laree. Tēnā koe, Laree. Kia koe te wā.
Kia ora everyone. So I'm Laree Te Pānua and I'm from Te Witi. I'm living in Hong Kong at the moment. So I've been here for 7 years. And my marae is Kapitihi and Te Tukuranui Anō.
Kia ora, tēnā koe, Laree. Happy to have you on board. What time is it over there, Laree, where you are?
It's 2:30 in the afternoon.
2:30 in the afternoon, eh? Just about time for a little bit of an afternoon nap. Not too far away. Kia ora, Laree. Glad to have you on board. Thank you for joining us. Let's cross to the bottom. We've got Pia down in the bottom there. Kia ora, Pia. Tēnā koe.
Tēnā koe, Leon. Happy to be back. So I am located in Melbourne, been living here for 10 years. I was on here previously before when we were talking about COVID and checking in. Looking forward to coming back. It's 5:30, so I'm ready for siesta time, not a quick nap too. So yeah, kia ora.
Siesta time. Happy to have you back too, Pia. Yeah, we had a good time last time. And it'd be good to check in on you and the whānau again over there in Melbourne. I mihi ana kia koe. And last in the bottom here, we've got Brother Daly. Tēnā koe, brother. Kia koe te wā.
Kia ora, my bro. Also, just like to acknowledge all our other panelists on here today. It's awesome to be a part of this with you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Daly. I currently reside in Perth, Australia. The time is currently 2:36 on a Wednesday avi, and yeah, my marae is Waipatoto, all parire there, and on my father's side, obviously we go out to Piopio, Moko Konui. So yeah, it's good to be here. It's good to be here, brother.
Beautiful. Nice to have you on board, bro. Looks like it's siesta time around the whole world where everybody is at the moment. Might hear some shakers and some glass later on. I don't know. But good to have everybody on board this evening, afternoon. And yeah, good to check in on everybody. And I see we've got 2 from Australia and we've got 1 from Hong Kong, which is almost in the same time zone as Brother Daly in Perth as well. So yeah, it'd be good to see the sort of differences from you two from your different parts of the world. But we're going to kick off with some questions right now, and I've got one straight out the box, and everybody can answer this one. And the question is, how long have you guys lived away from home? How long have you guys been away from home? Yeah, how long have you guys lived where you are right now? And we'll come back to Laree. We'll start with you, Laree.
So I left home in 2010. So I've been away for a good 12 years, coming up 13 years. But it hasn't been in Hong Kong. It's been in Australia, the UK, and Japan, and now Hong Kong. So yeah, been around the world a bit.
Yeah, definitely been around the world and around Asia, which is pretty cool. We'll have to catch up on those different places where you went to along the nights as well. And we've got Pierre back again. If you want to remind our whānau where and how long you've been staying over there, Pierre, over in Aotearoa.
Yep, so I've been here in Melbourne for 10 years. I think it's coming up, might even be 11. So I was only supposed to stay for 2. So I obviously can't count.
Ka whai. And you, Brother Daly, how long you been over there in Perth?
You, bro. So I'm coming up 21 years now. I moved over here, I think it was 2000, 2001. Anyway, sometime around there. I was just, just a young Māori boy, straight fresh out of school, brother. And seeing Australia on TV and already had some whānau over here. So I decided I made the move. I was 18 when I moved, going on 19. And 21 years, my bro. So I've been here.
Nice. Man, I see.
Yeah.
Time flies, eh? It doesn't take very long. Like when you've been somewhere for a long time, the time just flies. It seems like you've been over there a couple of years, and there you go. 21 years later, still there, still pumping, whānau there. So yeah, I can see how that time gets away on everyone.
Yeah,
Speaking on time, we've been in COVID world for 2 years now. Like I said before, just about to the week, pretty much to the week. Us here in Aotearoa, we've been in and out of lockdowns. We don't have them anymore. But for the first year, pretty much we were in and out of lockdowns, in and outs. We got hoha about them. You fellas pretty much got hoha about them too. But in the times right now where you are you guys still having lockdowns? And I'll pass that one to you first, Loree. You guys still having lockdowns over there?
Yes, we very much are. So we've been in lockdown properly since January, and it just keeps on getting stricter and stricter and stricter. So at the moment, you can only be with one other person in a group. You have to wear a mask everywhere you go. You can't have more than 2 families at your house. If you get caught, you get fined like $5,000 Hong Kong, which is equivalent to 1,000 New Zealand dollars if you get caught in more than 2 people, or if you don't wear a mask. Even when you exercise, you have to wear a mask. All schools are still online, and beaches are closed, fields are closed, restaurants can only stay open till 6 p.m. and then it's takeaway. Gyms are closed. It's like everything's closed. But there's still a lot of things you can do. And I've realized that instead of focusing on things you can't do and stressing about that and, falling into that trap of anxiety and overwhelm and stress, you kind of just focus on what you can do, and just try and remember that, there's a lot of things we can do, and we are still great. I'm still very grateful for that I'm alive, and that I'm healthy, and that I'm fit, and I've got my family, friends here. And you just kind of just do what you can to raise your energy and kind of support the people around you as well. So yeah, with the sun is shining, healthy, got friends and family, so just make the most of it.
Beautiful.
Hard.
Yeah, hard, and you've got to think about that. You've got to look at life that way. Otherwise, you get caught in the spiral, and you've got to keep your head up and keep that positivity going. But man, I'm still blown away by how your guys' lockdowns are really, really tough. So you talked about how you're only allowed a certain amount of people in your house. Do the police come around and check, or how do they police that sort of thing?
Sometimes it depends if you've got security guards, so they may be very strict. And sometimes police are going around to apartment buildings, or people in some areas are dobbing in on people, calling the police. So yeah, this police is very strict, I know. But you just have to suck it up and just get on with the rules, because you don't want to be slapped with a fine, or I don't know, other extremes that they do. But you just got to do it.
Wow. Is that the worst penalties, Loree? Is it fines, or is there actually jail time that you can face?
And there is jail time you can face, especially if you are very resistant to the police rules and don't follow what they say. But yeah. yeah, you just follow it because you don't want to not.
You do what you're told.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing, like most people here, expats and the locals are very, very diligent, and they do stick to the rules because it's not worth breaking them, especially if you're in your own country.
Very wise words. Yeah, stick to those rules. Stick to those rules. Well, that's Hong Kong. What about you, Pia, down in Melbourne? Are you guys still doing lockdowns there, or are they still harsh, or what's the go down in Melbourne?
No, the good thing about it, since the last time we spoke, is that we're just basically back to normal. So we only have to have masks on public transport, and in the restaurants, the servers actually have to wear masks. So it's very different. And to be honest, when I came back into the office and you're seeing everybody back out on the roads, back in public transport, you get quite anxious because, driving into work is like, oh my gosh, there's all these cars. Oh, I have to concentrate on all these other cars that are there. And you got used to the fact that there was no traffic on the roads when there were lockdowns, whereas now it's just back to normal, back to traffic delays. So, having the option to work from home is really good because then I don't have to go to work. Last week for Mahi, I actually had what's called a planning session, and we brought people into the office, and, there was, anxiety levels up here because you had to sit close to people. And you can see that all of the different people in the room, they're like, oh, can I sit close to you? Can't I sit close to you? Hand sanitizer going crazy. All the moisturizer on the hands going nuts. Anybody that coughs or makes a funny noise or, goes to clear your throat, everybody's looking at you.
Yeah.
So it's a very different experience of actually having people in the office, having people close by, going for lunch, having to line up for a coffee. I didn't like that because I got used to the fact that nobody was around and I could just go up and grab my lunch, grab my coffee. Now you've got to wait in line, a long line. So no more lockdowns. I think the good thing is that as the lockdowns have come off, we've been able to go and visit whānau. Shout out to the Mihaka whānau, which is Larie's first cousins as well. And, we get to say hello, which is good. So I'm really grateful that we've been able to do that and do a lot more of it. And I feel like a social bunny now. Have to check my social to see who I'm going to see next.
Well, your TikTok's going off now, eh?
Yeah.
You talked about the new normal, Pia, and what's that like, living with that at Mahi and at home and navigating around where you live. And you also talked about the anxieties you're facing at work. How have you been managing those anxieties while you've been getting used to the new normal?
Very frustrating. So anxiety levels is like I said, driving. You actually really have to concentrate on, driving because we've got, multi lanes, making sure that, you have to be, and I'm not saying that I don't do this, but you've got to be alert because there are cars coming flying left, right and centre, and people have forgotten how to drive. They're used to the open spaces and not being in confined areas. Which is interesting. And like I said, with being in meeting rooms, like even though we're in the office, you're still on a computer one-on-one like this. And when you're in a meeting room, you come in to actually turn on and use the technology and you've forgotten how to do it. And that happens a lot. Whereas now I like coming into the office, and the reason for that is because I'm not on back-to-back meetings in front of the screen all the time. So actually might get some more steps up, which is good. But the way that I'm sort of managing it, you just got to, it is what it is, take every day at a time. I come into the office, others don't. So there's still that virtual connection that's happening too. So, yeah, just roll with it, really.
Yeah, that's all you can do. Kia ora, Pia, thank you for that. And Brother Daly, over in Perth, bro, I don't know if the breeders have been telling me the truth, but they've been saying that the lockdowns haven't been as harsh up in your end of the country, bro. Is that true, bro, or have they been really harsh up your end?
Well, brother, saying that, see, we've been locked down that bad that not even Corona can get in here, bro. So that's probably why we've been one of the best states out. But that's because well, that's just my personal opinion, brother. We've prevented it, but we haven't. We put things in place, but now that we're open, see, we're at the stage where Melbourne and Brizzy were way back, bro. Look at them now. They carry on as normal now, but you come here and 7,000 cases, and no one, like, it's different to when it was one case. Everyone was like, oh no, it's going to be a lockdown. And then we're hearing over Melbourne 25,000 cases. But see, they're all back to normal now. They live with it. They dealt with it, and they learned how to live with it. And now we're in that situation now. I mean, in terms of the lockdowns, they just get pulled whenever, bro. So you could be mid-flight in the air, and by the time you land, she's a lockdown. And then all those rules just come into place, bro, mid-air, bro. I'm like, hey, I'd say you pay $1,200 to get home. All of a sudden, things just change. But just to elaborate on what the sis Laree said, you just learn to live with it. We've learned to live with it now, brother. I'm not too sure on why the panic buying's all about toilet paper over here, brother. But other than that, it's still masks. The little things, masks, 1 meter rule. There's a war over in Ukraine, and we're still worrying about one meter rule, bro. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things. And sorry, going back to what the sis said, you bring yourself back, brother. We got kai. I got kai. I can have a shower. My kids are warm and they got kai. So we come back to the basics, brother, and that's usually what has helped me through, like deal with anxiety and stuff that I don't really sort of get it on a harsher scale, but in terms of those sorts of things, just bring yourself back to the basics, I think, and just we're alive, like the sis said, and like the other sis peer was saying, like, think that there's changes now, and it's just the way it is. So but I'll tell you something, what's really ironic, Leon, is that shouldn't this be a time where everybody comes together and helps? So one of the biggest things is dealing with other people's views, brother. Like, that's one of the biggest things I've found trouble with, like, I don't mind whether or not, they're vaxxed or if you're not, but I think if we helped each other out, I think this would have blown over ages ago. But it's just the way it rolls. It's crazy times, and we deal with it the best we can, I think, brother. So
bro, yeah, you're definitely not wrong there. Time to come together and just talk with each other. We'll get us through a lot of stuff, supporting each other and helping each other through. But bro, your philosophy is beautiful, bro. You're on point, definitely on point tonight. Get those life coach mahi in there. And speaking about mahi te whānau, actually, before we move on to mahi, I just want to mihi to our whānau that are watching at home on our Facebook Live, MFM Te Reo o Te Iwi Facebook, on our YouTube and on our Twitter at the moment. E mihi ana ki a koutou katoa. Thanks for tuning in, and we're dropping in on our whānau that are living all over the world and just checking in and how they've been dealing with the current COVID situation and how they've been over the last 2 years. You can drop your comments live in the comment section, as some of you have started doing already. So if you want some pātai out to our panelists, or you want to know what they had for dinner over in Hong Kong, put them in the comment section, and we'll do our utmost best to get those questions out to our whānau. Now, we've been talking about mahi, and we might as well move along to the sort of mahi that we get into. And I want to come back to you, Laree, because you do some really important mahi, not only where you are, but I guess you reach out to everybody where you are. But if you want to let us know what sort of mahi you do, and actually, first off, what sort of mahi do you do, Laree?
So I'm a rapid transformational therapist and mindset coach. So basically, I help people get to the root cause of their problems, and by discovering what limiting beliefs they hold about themselves, eliminating them, installing new powerful beliefs so that they can live a happy, fulfilling, healthy life. And so I've been doing this full time as my own boss since June last year, and it's been really, really rewarding, and absolutely love what I'm doing, just because I'm able to help people who struggle with anxiety or depression or high stress levels, people who can't sleep, a lot of people who are holding trauma from their childhood that they haven't been able to process or transform. So especially around these times, it's been really quite busy, where people are just, a lot of people, and it's not just in Hong Kong, I like help people in Doha, in Australia, some in New Zealand, just having those people just know that there's hope, you know, that they're not alone, that they can get through what they are dealing with, and just trying to equip them with tools that they can use and that they can empower themselves and just get through a day and get through the week and get through the month. So yeah, that's what I do pretty much, and I love it.
Nice.
Cool.
That's mean mahi. It'd be cool to get into in depth a little bit of that. But in the last couple of years dealing with COVID, how much more have people needed your types of mahi, Larry? And yeah, it's, I guess, with, you know, people living with anxiety levels and uncertainty, especially, has there been more demand for your mahi over the last couple of years?
And so I've only gone full time, so it's been full time for the last 8 months. But it's just getting visibility. People, I think some people are still in that mind frame of, it's okay, I can push through this. If I ask for help, I look like I'm weak, or it's okay, I'll just hide my emotions or push them aside. But then they get to the point where they're like, actually, I'm really, really struggling here. I'm trying my best to do it on my own, but I really can't. And it's just, the first step is having that courage to say, I need help. There's something wrong, I need help. And then taking those steps to be like, okay, who is going to be there to support me? Yes, your family and friends can support you, but sometimes it's nice to have that person who's qualified, who can guide you through the process. Because just from my experience, it's not like an overnight fix. You know, you don't put a Band-Aid on and then you're fine. You don't just take medication and you're fine. You're literally like taking away the layers and really peeling back stuff that's just been stuck in your system or in your body for many years. So, you know, the journey can take 6 months for some people. For me, it took 16 months to really get on a place where I feel very comfortable with who I am and dealing with everything that's going around or going on. So yeah, it's just, if you're ready, you're ready, and you know you want to do it. And you can't have anyone try to force you to do the work or take control. You've just got to do it for yourself. Yeah, and it's an amazing journey, but also it's not easy. It's not easy at all. But that's part of life, right? It's not easy.
Yeah. Kia ora. Kia ora. Thank you for that insight on your mahi, your beautiful mahi at that. Speaking of mahi, now, Pia, you told us a little bit about your mahi last time. If you could remind us what you do over there in Melbourne.
Yeah, sure. So I am a program director, basically working in technology. So at the moment, I am working for Tabcorp. So all of my whānau that are betting, I'm going to change their whole app. Right. So I've got a team, a global team now of around about, I think it's 245 people that they have to be busy working away developing this new app. So I think, Cousin Marie, I need to send some people your way, because I think they need to actually definitely do some self-healing and looking at some of the challenges that they have. I might join up myself, to be perfectly honest. So my day consists of really just looking at our plans around development, bossing a lot of people around, pretending I know what I'm talking about. That's what I feel like I am. What's quite humbling, though, throughout my mahi is, you know, our whānau and our cultural background and how we connect with people. I have found that is one strength that I can bring into my mahi, regardless of whatever culture and of people that I connect with. I do find that I work with a lot of people overseas, obviously Indians, and then there's Greeks and all that, different cultures coming from all different parts of the world. One thing that does always connect us is when we talk about family, which I always find is quite interesting, because we always talk about our aunties and our uncles and the political conversations that you have in your whānau, that you can relate it back to your work. So it's always a good icebreaker. And I think being humble and authentic, whilst at a hierarchy level, doesn't matter where you sit within a corporate, just like anyone, we go for a kai, we sit down, we have, get frustrated every now and again. We all have our challenges, nobody's perfect, and as long as we are humble and don't try and hide it, and you're authentic, you get a massive team behind you to get the work done, the mahi done. So it can be very stressful at times. Sometimes I wonder why I do it. But then at the end of the day, just seeing the teams actually grow as a whole is really awesome. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Kia ora.
Nice. Kia ora, Pia. Kia ora. Hey, Brother Daly, let us know what mahi you do over there, my bro. What mahi you get up to over there?
So I'm underground mining at the moment. So I've been in the mining industry for the last 13. Look, it's just a big dark hole, brother. Wet, hot, and you're just sweating out all day. But you go down there, right? And when I first started, it's daunting, brother. Like, you're going underground. So, and the first things that pop up into your mind is caving. That was one big thing that popped into my mind first, was the caving. And then I learned about all the other hazards, like fires, obviously smoke, So what I actually do underground, brother, is I run all the vent. So, like, we can get ventilation down underground, or we run all that, like 1,400 meter bags, We change pumps, water for the water, so we don't flood. Air and water, because that's how some of our machines they work off air, and obviously the ones that do work off power need water. So I put in all that. Yeah, we're on a 2-2 roster. So because I get some of the bros that say, "Oh, bro, you're on holiday again," and I'm like, "Oh, no. This is how it works, bro. Like, you go to work for 2 weeks and you get 2 weeks off, and they're buzzing out at it." So, yeah, for the last probably 13 years, I've been in the mining industry, man. And I mean, it's after a while, brother, you start to tend to, it's good money, bro, but then you start to miss all the other things, like time away from home. That's something that doesn't come back, bro. You can't rewind that time back. You can always make the cash, but that's just my personal perspective on it. And now doing what I'm doing now, just primary carers leave, it makes you sort of start to realize, like, wow, we're out there, man. You know what? I don't actually feel bad for having all this time off work. I actually feel awesome because I get to spend it with my kids, and that's the and I'm glad that I'm realizing that true beauty of it, brother. Like, not just to come home and sit around, eat all the kai and I'm actually starting to realize what this is really truly about, and I'm proud of myself for that. But yeah, that's basically what I do, underground mining. So
Bro. I've got 2 questions about your mahi, bro. But before I do that, I'll just remind our whānau that are watching and at home on our Facebook Live, don't forget you can put questions into the comments section. Just jot them down, and we'll be able to ask our panelists whatever questions you have. And we'll be able. You can direct them to them yourself, or I can direct them to them myself. But kia kaha koutou that are watching on our Facebook Live, put your comments in the comments section. Now I've got 2 questions for you and your mahi, Brother Daly. One, you said you guys mine. What are you mining for? Because I've seen Gold Rush on Discovery Channel. And 2, you talk about flying in and flying out, bro. Now I know that's the FIFO, the FIFO life, or whatever, the FIFO. Can you explain to our whānau what that life's like? So 1, what are you mining? And 2, can you explain about the FIFO life?
Okay, so we'll kick question number 1 off. So Australia's rich in minerals, brother. They got everything. And all around WA, there's hundreds of mines, bro. And they all specify in a specific mineral, whether it be gold. So I'm gold at the moment. We mine gold. There's copper, zinc, everything under the sun. So, well, if whoever wants to know, gold is currently at $1,900 an ounce. And within a 24-hour shift, we can pull out anything like, we pull out thousands of ounces, brother. So that on a scale, it's $1,900 an ounce, and we're pulling out thousands of ounces, brother, all week. And it's a 365 operation, so she don't sleep out there, it's go. But that's business. Second question, FIFO. Yeah, I mean, it's for some, but it's not. Like, I think people get the whole frame of mind as, I'll go out to the mines and I'll get a house. Yeah, that's good. But I've seen it's not till you actually get out there and you actually live that lifestyle. So I'll fly. I'll get up 3 a.m. in the morning, get my Uber to the airport, do all the COVID checks there, catch the flight at 5 o'clock, get to Mahi. So we get straight to Mahi, chuck our gears in our room, and then we're straight to work. So we it works out to be like, I don't know, 16, 17 hour day, but that's the usuals for mining, if you're adding travel time in, because she's 12 hours out there, and you're underground for that whole 12 hours, no internet, no nothing. Once you're down. So you go down when it's dark and you come out when it's dark. So and just saying that, like, that can get to people, if you know what I mean. Like, they where's the sun? Something simple like that. Well, it's good to see the sun here. Hey, you get up and far out the sun, man. It's that kind of that, but that's FIFO. And after a while, there's no weekends. She's just 2 and 2. You don't go, just it's the weekend, or bro, it's a public holiday next week. No, that no double bubble. It's just straight flat rate, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And then you come home. Obviously, you do your thing at home, but it's hard to catch up on 2 weeks worth. So, from my point of view, you got kids time, you got your partner time, relationship time, and you also got self-investment. Now, those 3 things, brother, they take a lot of time up. Mahi takes up the most. But those other 3 things, it's a lot of time. And when you start missing those pieces of the puzzle, bro, you start to think, well, for me, you start to go, man, all right. And that's when things start playing on your mind, overthinking and da-da-da. But, like, also I'm glad I realized that too, So all those things are important, I think. So, and if you can keep those things on lock, those basics, therefore, when you go to Mahi, it's not on your mind. It's not playing on your mind, brother, because once you're at Mahi, that's it. You can't come home and go, oh, sorry, darling. You can't do that, It's like, so, yeah, like that's the biggest
keeping
part
that
of it.
balance.
It's
keeping
just
that
balance, brother. If you can keep that on lock, things are easier,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Bro, big ups to you for doing that for 13, my bro. That's pretty hard checker. So big mahi to you and your whānau for going through that, brother. All right, have fun. I think we're going to go back double clockwise, and we'll go back around to Pia, because last time I talked to Pia, she was getting ready to come home and taste some sweet kinners from her whānau that should be picked by now, hopefully, and shelled. If we can get an update, Pia, how far away are you from coming home to see the whānau, and have they been diving yet?
So they better be diving. So flights are booked, locked and loaded for the 10th of April. And they are one-way tickets because we haven't decided when we're coming back. And to all my whānau out there, you better be in that sea, and you better be getting me those kinners and putting them in the freezer, because we're coming home. And there's enough COVID, even though I've put on a lot of COVID kilos, there's always room for kina. But yeah, obviously organising the flights and what we had to do around that, because school holidays are coming up in Australia. We've got Easter and Anzac that are also coming up, and my son wanted to come back earlier, wanted to stay for a month. I had my partner Craig, who is working, so he had to get time off, and then there's me. So all three of us are coming home on the 10th, and we're all coming home at different times through whenever we book our flights home. So yeah, pretty stressful. Got to figure out, try and the tests that we've got to do, passports, and even the anxiety of booking the tickets, because all of the flights, there's not as many flights as what there is previously for obvious reasons. And so you've actually got to have a look around days before and days after. And I was like, oh my gosh. So you actually have to be quite flexible in your dates. And if you're like me, although I do planning for a living, I'm not very good at it when I'm trying to plan for myself or my whānau. So it's always usually a little bit late. Whilst the costs may go up, the other thing is that, my justification is having been home for 2 years, doesn't matter what the cost is, because you can never put a price on seeing your whānau and eating all those kinnets. But looking forward to coming home. Can't wait to see the whānau. It was quite hard because my family is South Island all the way up through North Island, as Laree knows. But you have to pick and choose who you want to go and see to. So if they want to come and see me, I'll put my itinerary on Facebook, and they can come and bring me presents and kinners anytime.
Book an appointment, eh? Book an appointment.
Yeah.
Kapai, you talked about booking your tickets and stuff, and I just want to ask you about the process, especially on your guys' side of the border. What is the process? Do you have to have a test, or do you have to be clear for so long, or you guys still got passports over there, or what's that process, Pia?
Yep. So we've got to before we actually go on to the flight, you've got to actually have a negative test before you can actually board. And I think at the moment, the last time that I read it, it was 48 hours before. And so you've got to actually organise that, rock up with your test. The other thing is that if you actually have had COVID, you've got to have a certificate from your doctor to say that you've had COVID, because obviously if you do a test, you're going to have COVID test positive anyway. So you've got to have that, and then you jump on the plane and away you go, and hopefully everything goes through fine. So we've got to figure out all of that before we actually fly as well. So yeah, quite stressful, and we've got to make sure that we're not going to catch COVID before we go otherwise we're going to be stuck and our flights are going to be wasted. So as you can imagine, I have a partner who is quite diligent, be careful, be safe and all that. And here I am coming to work and hanging out with all these people here, and downstairs everything is normal. So yeah, he's a little bit, what's the word? Quite vocal in how I should be spending my time when I'm in the office. So, yeah. But I just can't wait to see the whānau and do whatever we need to do. And I will try and not bite my son and my partner's head off while we're going through that process. But, last time, Auntie Cindy must have listened to the last panel, because the next day, remember, they opened up the borders from a self-isolation perspective, which was cool.
I remember that. She must have tuned in and watched, because she was listening to us, and it was open the next day. So yeah, good mahi. Kapai Pia, thank you for that. Laree, what's on the cards for you for coming home? Are you coming home, or you got any plans of coming home? What's your cards?
So definitely home for Christmas and New Year's. But in the process, or just thinking about whether or not to leave Hong Kong and go home for good, because it has been a while, and I do kind of starting to feel that pull to go home, and because I just feel, I've had a good stint overseas, and I'm lucky to have my sister and my nephew and niece in Sheldon here, but also I do really miss my family, and I do want to set my business up there and kind of, just see if that can thrive. meet my husband and get married and have kids. No. But I don't know. Yeah, see how it goes.
Carl Five will roll with it. That sounds like a fairy tale story. That sounds really good. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that'll be cool. Daly, what about you, bro? What's the plans on you coming home to see the whānau?
Oh yeah. We're just sort of sussing some couple of things out at the moment. You know, like when is a good time to go home? You know, when should we go home for holiday? Yeah, but in terms of moving home, nah, not yet, brother. Not yet. Sort of just got a few things I'd like to do here first, you know, tick a few more boxes off, because I feel as though I can see the opportunity here, but I'm fucking mad to move home. Gee, I don't know how to live back there. I've been away for 21 years. Gee, you know, what's Kiwi Saver? I don't even know what that is. You know? So I'm like, whew, now I'm going to have to learn how to hunt at 40 years old and dive and eventually, brother, come back. But yeah, just at the moment, I think we'll just go day at a time for now, because you know, obviously COVID's easing up, so we can we've got a bit more flexibility, brother. So we'll just we'll keep it at that at the moment. That's all I got for you, I think, bro. Yeah.
Good on you, bro. Good on you. Still gonna finish your mahi off over there, but I'm sure when you get home, the cousins will happily put you in the shed back on the handpiece. Ka pai te whānau. Well, everybody at home have been putting in questions into our comment section, and let's have a look and see what's in our pauaka for our first partai out of the box. This one's from Lisa. Tēnā koe, Lisa. Question is for our beautiful Larry. Given the trying times now, is there a simple technique our whānau can practice daily at home to relieve stress, especially whānau and tamariki that are isolating? Very, very good question. That one's for you, Larry.
Lisa. Lisa. Yes. Hi, Lisa. So for the adults, I just want to say that I know there are a lot of adults who have high anxiety and stress levels, but anxiety is all about the unknown, the uncertainty, not knowing what's behind that door, what's, you know, those 5 steps ahead of us. But we need to realize that as adults, we are so capable of dealing with whatever challenge that is going to come ahead of us. You know, as children, our children, they don't know, they don't have the knowledge or the maturity or the power that we do as adults to be able to cope with challenges, to be able to handle things that come our way. So we just need to remember that, to not always think about the worst case scenario. So whenever something comes up, we always go, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, what about this, what about this? You know, we think about everything that could go wrong, but we don't think about the best case scenario, because oftentimes those worst case scenarios never happen. It's only like 15% where those worst case scenarios do happen. And we get so caught up in, you know, fueling our body with all the cortisol and all the hormones that are not good for us, that, you know, our mind actually doesn't realize the difference between what's happening that we're creating in our mind and what's actually happening right in front of us. So always take the best case scenario possible. Just create all the possible things that could come through. Even do it with your children. Think about all the good things that could happen instead of focusing on the negative side. But that's how we're programmed. Our brain is programmed to look for negativity or fear or stress or whatever it may be. So always look for the best case scenario and just back yourself, and know that you've got support around you from your family, from your friends, or whoever it may be. And just like Daly has said, and Pia said, just take one step at a time. You know, think about gratitude as well. Gratitude is a huge thing. Like, you know, I'm grateful for this. Okay, why am I grateful for it? And how does that make you feel? So I'm grateful for that I've got my family here, and it makes me feel supported. It makes me feel connected. It makes me feel loved. So yeah, best case scenario and gratitude are two huge things. There's so many. I could keep on going, but it could be all day. But those are two things that I could say.
Kia ora for that, Larry.
And everyone else.
That was a good question, Lisa. I hope that answered your question, and that was a great answer to Larry. Thank you for that. Ka pai, let's have a look at our next question out of the pauaka. This one's from Shana, and Shana's question is, what has been the biggest challenge during COVID times? What has been a positive for you that has come out of these COVID times? And I think we're going to throw it back the other way, and we'll start with you, Brother Daly. Question there from Shana, bro. What's been the positives for you and get you out of these COVID times?
Yeah, kia ora, Shana. So the positive for me is obviously I've got to be with my whānau and just being able to see them in these times. You know that's big. Sometimes when we're at work and, the whānau's isolating at home, it's sort of hard because I know when I'm home, I know what isolation is like because I've always done it. But being home with the kids, just to see them and just to be able to help them and, just try and steer the ship for them. That's sort of been the biggest positive. And also just spending time, just time with the whānau is, you can never get enough of it. Well, you can, but then you start to realize, oh yeah, shit, that was good, that was cool, that time was cool, that time was cool, that time was cool. But it's just, these sorts of times, they teach you how to shift your energy in ways where if you're feeling like that, shift that good energy over that way. Because, it's like energy shifts and rips. When I say that, it shifts good, shifts, bad, rips. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's the most positive for me. I get to be there with my whānau and see and help and just be there for them. But isolation, man, it's no joke, eh? It gets to you, but you know why you're there. So, yeah, pretty much positive for me.
Kia ora, bro. Thank you for that. I'd like everyone to answer this question because this is a good question, Shana. Thank you. And I'll direct it now to you, Pia. What has been the biggest challenge during your COVID times and what's been the positive that's come out? Oh, I think you're just muted there, Pia. I'll get you to unmute.
Unmuted. There we go. I think the biggest challenge for me during COVID times was when we were locked up, knowing that, you've only just got whānau about, 3 or 4 kilometres away and you can't actually go and see them. So that was challenging. The fact that you can't fly back, and not see whānau at all, I think that was one of the hardest things for me because, we like to catch up with our family and all of that. They're just there, but you're not allowed to go and see them. So that was really hard. And the fact that I was eating too much, that's another challenge. But hey, what gives me a positive around that, I suppose, is that I've got to do some exercise. So what has been the positive for me that has come out of COVID was with my daughter and her fiance going to get their dog ticket. Because then what it was is from a mental health perspective, for me, being in front of the screen, working from home all the time and, different time zones that I had to deal with, you're just in front of the screen a lot. And I get fixated with, I've just got to do one more email, I've just got to do one more pack, I just can't read this. And I never actually started to step away. So by doing that, I got into a routine of actually having to spend time with the dog, even though my partner and my son, they're there, they're doing their own thing. But what it meant is that I had to step away and actually connect not only with my whāmoko, but then also talking to the family as well. So that's a positive for me. Kia ora.
Kia ora for that, Pia. And just finally, you, Larry, what's been your biggest challenge during these COVID times, and what's the positive that you've come out?
So I think for me, when everything started was not being able to go home for Christmas was really, really, really difficult for me. And I feel emotional just thinking about it. So yeah, not being able to go home for Christmas when my family were able to go home. Sorry, I don't know why I'm getting emotional about this. And having to be back here dealing with that was really, really hard. But from that, I realized that, you know, your family can be with you, but then they can go, you know, to other countries or do their own thing, but you've got to have that strength within yourself to pick yourself back up and be confident with yourself and be okay to be alone on your own and with your own thoughts and really just have your own back. So that was very, very hard, but I learned a lot of lessons from that. That was, a huge lesson. So that was a positive, but also I think another big positive for me was being able to leave my job as a teacher for 12 years and leave that and go into the unknown territory of building my own business here in Hong Kong. And I totally do not regret it whatsoever. And it's been such an amazing journey, and it's going to continue to grow. And I just really feel like I'm living my purpose at the moment. Sorry, God, I don't know where those emotions came from.
Beautiful. Don't apologize for that, Larry. That's I understand. I understand that 100%. You know, I go away from my whānau for the weekend and I get bloody emotional. So I can't imagine what it's like being you over on the other side of the world for years and years. So e mihi aroa ki a koe mō tērā. Thank you for sharing that with us. And don't be ashamed of that. E pai ana. Yeah. Ka whai e te whānau. Well, we've got some more questions and we'll have a look in our pārtai box. And this one's from Kat. Tēnā koe, Kat. Tēnā koutou. He pārtai tāku. What's assistant canned whānau Māori access within the area you live in, if any? In response to COVID-19, is there any services that you know or that provide that services for our whānau? That's a very good question. We are fortunate back here to have service providers for our whānau, our iwi members as well. But are there any on your guys' parts of the world? And I'll come back to you, Daly. Have you had any support over your ways, bro, for you fellas?
Yeah. So the government, they help out where they can, how they can. I mean, they could just give nothing if we sort of look at it like that. But so we'll put it in a way of so when I look on Facebook, I look back home and one of the sisters is doing some awesome mahi back there with the whānau, giving out kai da. In terms of that stuff, no, we don't have anything beautiful like that. I mean, we got COVID hotlines that you can ring for assistance, but usually the assistance only comes in the means of, well, what you should do, we sort of know what we should do, but we need help doing it. So it's sort of on that line. But I mean, for me, bro, I've been here long enough to understand that emergencies can come in any type of shapes or forms. So I've been fortunate to be onto it and have enough putia to get me through emergencies. And what this has actually taught me from here on in is that don't wait for the emergency to ask for emergency help. You know what I mean? So when those things come in place, you're sorted. And because it's not just about me, but it's about my whānau and keeping them safe. I'm the provider here, so those are the sort of angles I sort of look at to, I don't know, to protect, I suppose, from if we don't have any services around, or if it is just us to rely on. So in terms of kai and pretty much in terms of kai, that's where the biggest part is. We sort of don't have any services for that. It's just ring the hotlines pretty much, and do your best.
Yeah. Kia ora, bro. Kia for that. I'm not too sure if we asked you this time last, Pia, but I know there's a lot of whānau Māori living where you are in Melbourne. Are there any services there, other than helplines and stuff like that? Any help services there for our whānau?
Because Melbourne is very multicultural, the different communities were actually doing different things from a help perspective that they were offering out to, everyone within the community, regardless of race. So we had, I think, some of the Muslim community churches were doing food drives for those people that were struggling. And, you just had to be in the area or the community. There was some, ads on the television saying, all of these different things that were going on within the community. Government services were there as well. I know that in the beginning, when a lot of the restaurant businesses and all the hospitality businesses were closing down, that, they would open up and close down, etc. What would happen is that the restaurants might actually donate a lot of their food out to whānaus that were struggling as well. So there was that. In saying that though, similar to daily being privileged and not having to call upon those services, I did reach out to my whānau to see if they needed any assistance in any way, shape or form, because there were some of my family that have their own businesses and during that time were unable to work. They seemed to manage, which meant that they, within their communities, they were connecting with different organisations, and like anything, from a kai or putia perspective, always reaching out to help. So,
Kia ora. Kia ora, Pia. Thank you for that. But in your little community where you are, Larry, you guys have any help like that, or any of your whānau that you live close with over there? You guys get together and help each other out?
Yeah, it's very similar to Pia. Like it's very multicultural here, and there's all the other communities that just help out where we can, especially for the elderly, for like the street workers, the helpers who really need support. Especially in the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of drive to help those people, which has been great. In our community, we do is like for the Māori community, Kiwis here, we do as much as we can under the restrictions, but we're always reaching out, supporting people where we can. And the government actually has been really good in we don't have to pay electricity for some time. Our tax has been reduced significantly, and you get a cash handout. So that's been great.
Well, yeah, that's been some good benefits, tax cuts and cash handouts. So it's actually good that everybody's getting some supports where you guys are. So that's the main thing. That's really, really good. We've still got Pātai coming in, so let's have a look at another one in the box. This one's from Māori Tēnā koe, Māori Kazi Daily. How do you lift your wairua every time you have to leave your whānau? That's a really, really good question. Thank you for that, Māori. Kia koe, Brother Daily.
Māori, kia ora, sis. So at the start, when I first started, obviously that was big. It's still big now, being away from our motherland. It's still there. Like the wairua, it'll never ever be as big as when you were at home. But hey, we're doing our best over here. But every time I leave for work, because I'll be straight up with you. Yeah, it's hard. And now that the kids are getting older, they start to understand why. They don't understand, but they start to ask questions. Oh, where you going, Daddy? And it wasn't until like a couple of months ago, my eldest daughter Emerson. So I because we've got two kids. When one cries, you have to go down to the other end, sleep with that kid. And I stay with her for the night. And yeah, I've done it hundreds of times. I got up, she's crashed, but just that one time I got up and she said, "Oh, Daddy, I don't want you to go to work." And that's when it really hit. It hit that hard that I was almost going to say, what, is this worth it? Then I started to question, is this really worth it? But then like everything, I sort of pull myself back a bit. You know, I'm always grateful for the little things that I've got. And that usually what gets me through. It gets me through everything, just about. But yeah, it wasn't until that time. That's when I started to ask questions, and that really hurt. It's like a 70% heartbreak. It's not a full heartbreak, but 70% is pretty close. And yeah, all the way to work too. So I was like, you know, I was in mope land. Man, I was depressed, and you know, my whole attitude changed. Usually I can get up, put my feet on the floor, and my attitude is boom, you know. Never mind moaning about work, brother. We've got to go anyway, so you may as well make the best of it. But at that time, I was, couldn't shake it. But yeah, that's big. It speaks. It's sometimes it gets to you have a little tonguey in your room, but you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's a way to release, and you know, I don't mind having a little cry about that because it's my kids, you know, and you know, I miss them, I love them. So yeah, thank you for that question, my sister. It's big, it's huge, actually, and thank you for touching on that. Thank you for asking. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Kia ora, Māori. Thank you for that pātai. That was a really good question and beautiful answer, Brother Daly. When I actually read that question, I thought it was a weightlifting pātai when I got to the first part. I thought we were going to get into the bit of mahi, but good pātai, Māori. Let's have a look at another one of our questions in the poaka. This one's from Sonia. Tēnā koe, Auntie. Kia ora, Leon. Thank you for highlighting the beautiful, significant mahi and efforts that our wonderful skills that our Maniapoto rangatahi are sharing with others all over the world. Sending our love and blessings to you all, wherever you may be. I only have one pātai. How can we, or what can be put in place here at home or close to home that would entice you to come back and stay in Maniapoto and share those skills here? That's a good question, Auntie Sonia. And yeah, I guess over the years, you know, we learn all these skills and we take them overseas or we take them out of the rohe, just, you know, to earn a living for our whānau. But I guess what Auntie's asking is, how can we entice our whānau to stay here in our own rohe and share those talents and those skills and those learnings with our whānau right here? And I'm gonna go right back up to the top, and I'll come to you, Laree. Yeah, what's your answer there for that pātai?
Ooh, it's a big one. For me, I really don't know. There is a lot. I've been away from New Zealand for a really long time now, so just I'm so used to a big city. I'm used to lots of people, lots of things happening. Very big, vibrant city, meeting lots of different people. I'm an extrovert, so the quiet life is not quite me at the moment. But I don't know. I would if I moved back to New Zealand, it would have to be Auckland, because it's a big city, and then you never know, like, any opportunity to come back and share my knowledge or share my skills in a workshop or at a school or in businesses, you know, that's the opportunity there as well. I wouldn't say I would move back to Little Tikawiti, which I love, but, you know, I could easily come back for a day or two to share my knowledge or whatever needs to be done. That's a great question.
Very, very good question. Kia ora. Thank you for that answer. What about you, Pia? Have you got a take on that pātai?
Yeah, that is a big question. I think really for me, why we're still here is the opportunities for our son. So one of the key things from an education perspective, from the sporting side of things, is why we're here. For me, it'll be quite easily to jump back home and stay at home. With working remotely now through COVID, which is one thing that I am quite grateful for. That is one thing, is that it has removed that you have to actually be in the location that you work. So that's cool. So I can't do the work excuse anymore. But it is my family. So my son and my partner and making sure, you know, it's not just about me, it's about making sure that they will come with me as well. Otherwise, I'll be a single woman. And it's the opportunity. So from a skill set perspective, you know, more than happy to share around that with my family and with other opportunities with other organisations. For me, I work globally anyway, so it doesn't really matter where I'm based, to be honest. It's just around trying to convince my Craig and Corey when. It's not a matter of if, it'll be when we come home.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, Pia. Thank you for that. Yeah, and just to finish off on that one, Daly, what's your take on that question, bro?
But I use my skills at home all the time, bro. I go use my mum's car for 2 weeks and don't even fill it up. Yeah, I'm always using my skills, but I'd love to move home. To be honest, I would love to move home and work back home. And you probably think, looking at me going, well, why don't you? Well, because it's just the opportunity. There's, instead of going home and dealing with just the one mine, you can deal with heaps. Then obviously I'm in the mining sector, so this is where the mining is, you know. But if I'm willing to build and reboot, you know, rewire, learn some new skills. Always keen for that. So yeah, one day if my skills are updated, my specs are, you know, got the upgrades, then yeah, I'd love to come home and help out friends and whānau hard.
Kia ora, bro. Kia ora. Thank you for that. Ka pai whānau. I think that was a good question, and some really good answers. So thank you, Auntie Sonia, for asking that pārtai. Beautiful. Okay, so since we've been talking about coming home, e te whānau, now we know what Pia's after when she comes home for kai. We already know what she's eyeing up, but I want to know what Larry and Daly are after. And I'll ask you first, Larry, what's on the menu when you come home first? The first night you're back at home, what are you going to have for kai?
I feel it would be roasted kumara, because I actually love the kumara back home. It's so good. It's hard because I'm plant-based, so there's no meat, or actually I eat a bit of salmon, so I probably could do a bit of salmon. Boysenberry trumpet, I love boysenberry trumpet, the vegan side. And if at that time Fijo was already, I'd totally go for a Fijo and a Monty summer ale.
Nice, yeah, we're getting into Fijo season here, and I see my neighbour's tree is just about ready to drop, so I'll be looking at that one tomorrow. But yeah, some good kai there when you get home, I'd say. Larry, what about you, Brother Daly? What's on the cards for you first night back home? What are you getting Mum to cook up?
Actually, brother, funny you say that. I've actually been craving kamo butter.
Ooh,
yes. And butter, you know, that drenched butter, but because I'm on the sort of like a diet type thing, now I get to, now everything, all kai's popping up in my head, you know, like what I want. But yeah, if my feet was to hit the soil, brother, I'll be trying to find that kamo, bro, and those good old home bacon bones, brother. Some neck chops.
Here we go. I can see a pot on at your whare, bro, filled with neck chops and kamo. It'll be a good kai that night. And you, Pia, we already know what you want to eat. But who are you going to see when you first get home? Who's going to be the first port of call to visit?
So my daughter and her fiance and their dog in Christchurch. So we're going to land there, go directly there. We'll be there for a week. We've got my mum and dad coming down if they haven't got COVID. And my sister after that, and my niece and nephew, and then we'll travel on back up north. So we're flying into Christchurch, like I said, and then they're all coming there, which is great. So I won't have to travel too far away. But looking forward to it. Yeah, I can't wait. It's getting really exciting, and then having to think about, did I pack my bikini? Is it still summertime over there? To
It's
which
still
I'm sure my
warm
daughter
enough.
will kick me out and go, oh, no. Sorry. But I think this time around, be really happy to see them all. But I'm even a little bit anxious about, oh, I've only got a one-way ticket. You know, when am I going to come home? And what is it going to be looking like? So we'll see what happens after that.
Go down and see Tiki A down in Christchurch. First port of call. Nanny's on the way.
Nanny's on the way.
Ka pai te whānau. Well, we've gone through our questions, and I want to thank our whānau at home for sending in those pātai in our question box. E mihi ana kia koutou katoa. Some great questions, and we've answered as many as we can. So, yeah, beautiful. Thank you to the whānau that are sending in those pātai. So just before we wrap up with te whānau, I'll go around the squares one more time just to give you guys the opportunity for final remarks. If you want to give some shout outs to your whānau or just some final remarks from you to your whānau, yeah, all good. So we'll start with you, Laree, up in the top. Kia koe te wā.
I just want to say thanks for this opportunity. It's been so nice to connect with you all here daily and to meet you as well. It's just been such a cool experience. And I think the thing for me is that connection is a huge thing. Like connecting with your family, connecting with your friends, just making sure that you're keeping those bonds strong. And it's so important because, you know, when you never know what impact you can have on that person in that day, whether it's a friend or family, just reach out. And yeah, I think family and friends and connection is so strong, and just to nurture and nourish them is important. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank
Tēnā
you.
koe, Laree. Thank you for that. And thank you. And a big mihi to you and your whānau over in Hong Kong. And to the cousins Sheldon and them as well. E mihi ana kia koutou katoa. And hope you guys keep well and yeah, and stay blessed over there. Tēnā koutou.
Thank you.
You, Pia, final remarks or shout outs to your whānau before you come home in a couple of weeks.
I got told I needed to shout out to Nehenehenui, all the way in Melbourne, just down the road. To all my whānau, though, I think, yeah, I am looking forward to coming home. Can't wait to see you all and cuddle you in 3D. But coming back to Laree and what Daly have said is that whilst you guys are going through isolation, all in different phases of it all, be grateful that, you know, you wake up in the morning, you've got a roof over your head, your whānau is close by, and that it's just a phone call away if you need support from anyone. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Tēnā koe, Pia. And a big mihi to you and your whānau over there in Melbourne. And yep, see you when you get back here to Aotearoa. And finally, you, Brother Daly, any final remarks or any shout outs to your cousins over here, bro? Kia koe te wā.
Yep. Firstly, thank you, brother. It's been a privilege, bro. And also to my sisters over here. It's been awesome to get a wahine perspective on things as well, you know. So, you know, you could actually learn more things from them than you can actually learn from your own pairing, you know. But firstly, I just want to give a big shout out to my whānau back home. Every single one of you, you know, much love everywhere. Can't wait to see y'all. And also, I'd just like to give a huge shout out to all my Brimstone family. They're doing big things there. You know, keep pissing out there, whānau. And lastly, I'd just like to give a big thank you to my partner. She really held it down for us. You know, we've been away through these years. She's a great mother. She's a great partner. And yeah, I just like to acknowledge her in here as well too, brother. So, and yeah, that's about it. So to all the whānau out there, day by day, you know, yeah, it's not a sprint race. She's a marathon, I think, these days. And you know, just enjoy like where you are at the moment, because once that time goes, bro, that's it. You don't come back and you can't go, oh, I want to come back and enjoy that bit again, bro. No, it doesn't work like that. So realize, you know, it's all good to, the future is the future, but don't forget about the now. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Kia ora, bro. Beautiful words, wise words, actually. Very, very wise words. And I definitely have learnt a lot from all three of you tonight. And the beautiful, the kōrero has been really, really beautiful. So, on behalf of us here at home, Ngāti Maniapoto, e mihi ana kia koutou katoa, mō koutou mahi manaki tēnei pō. Thank you for helping us and guiding us and giving us insight on your guys' corner of the world. It's been really, really an eye-opener. It really, really has. And it's been good to check in on you guys and just to know that you guys are doing really well over there. So a big mihi ana kia koutou katoa, mio koutou whānau hoki. Tēnā koutou katoa e te whānau. Thank you. Thank you. Kia ora. Well, te whānau, it's been choice talking to our whānau, and we're going to have a quick look at our pop-up vaccination sites here in Te Nehenehenui, and you'll see them scrolling across the bottom tomorrow. Countdown car park here in Aotearoa, the Maniapoto Whānau Order Centre in Te Kuiti, Taumaranui Kōkiri Trust, and you can also check the Waikato DHB Facebook page for all of those times as well. Let's look at the testing as well. Te Oro Ngātai in Te Kuiti will be testing Aotearoa Referee Club, the Miriana Club in Taumaranui, and also check again at the Waikato DHB Facebook page for all of those times. Well, it's been a great night, te whānau, and I've really enjoyed your guys' company, and I hope you've enjoyed mine. And it was good to check in on our whānau, as I said before. But don't forget, we'll be back again next week for another engaging Te Puna Kōrero o Te Nehenehenui. But for now, I'm your host, Leon Hemera. It's been my pleasure, and we'll catch you next time here on Te Puna Kōrero o Te Nehenehenui. From me and from our whānau here at MFM, Pō Mārie.